So, in the beginning, there was nothing. Well, nothing but chaos, but not chaos as in disorder or conflict as we know it today. In this case, it meant emptiness, the absence of everything as an empty canvas. From this primordial void emerged the very first beings that would continue to shape the universe. Gaia, the earth; Tartarus, a deep abyss found within the earth, a dark and frightening place; Eros, the god of love and attraction, the Greek equivalent of the well-known Roman god Cupid. His force was what bound the elements of the universe together, so it could be said that nothing could have ever existed without the power of love. Erebus, the representation of darkness, and Nyx, the representation of night, which interestingly enough were regarded as two different entities because it is possible to have darkness without night, as in a cave, for example. These first creatures reproduced with each other to keep on with the development of everything. From the union of Nyx and Erebus were born Hemera, the day, and Eater, the light. Odd as it may seem, it makes sense. Darkness and night come first, and then emerge the light and day. Gaia and Tartarus also joined and created Typhon, a monstrous creature who was so tall that his head came near the stars and it could touch the east with one hand and the west with the other one. There were snakes curled in its legs, and from his shoulders 100 dragon heads emerged, spitting fire. Nyx had a lot of offspring with itself, such as Charon, the ferryman of the underworld. His duty was crossing the souls of the dead through the river Acheron, which separated the world of the living from the world of the dead. However, he would only do so if he was given a coin, which was usually put by relatives near the cremation urn containing the ashes. If not, the soul would be thrown in the river and abandoned there for 100 years before being brought to their destiny. There were 3 destinies for a dead soul in the underworld. The Tartarus, the deep abyss where the wicked were sent. The second one was the Asphodel Meadows, which received their name from the white flowers that bloomed there. This was the destiny for the souls that weren't too good nor too bad. And finally, the destiny for the heroes, the Elysian Fields, a paradise. Here there were all of the fruits that grew on earth in their best form, and they never ran out. Other important creatures that came from Nyx were Thanatos, the personification of a placid, calm death; the Cares, 3 female creatures that personified violent death; and the Moirai, the personifications of destiny, 3 sisters who decided how long someone's life should be. Clotho spun the thread of life, Lachesis measured it, and Atropos cut it with her scissors. Also Hypnos, the god of sleep, and Nemesis, the goddess of retribution. Hypnos had 3 sons, the Oneiroi, the personification of dreams. Morpheus was the leader of the group and the one that appeared in human shape in the dreams of kings to give messages from gods. Phantasos was the god of unreal dreams, who often appeared in dreams as an inanimate object, such as water or a rock. From his name we get the word fantasy and its relatives. And finally, Phobetor, the god of nightmares, who often appeared in them as a monster or animal. From his name we get the word phobia and its relatives. Now let's move to the story of the earth, Gaia. She split in half, and from her emerged Pontus, the sea, and Uranus, the sky. After this, Gaia reattached. Uranus would always come down to Gaia and procreate with her. From these unions were born 3 cyclopes, single-eyed giants, 3 hecaton chairs, monstrous giants with 50 heads and 100 arms each, and finally 12 titans. Uranus disliked all of his children because they were seen as threats to his power. Despite this, he thought the Titans were beautiful, but the sight of the hecaton chairs infuriated him so much because of their ugliness that he tried to push them back into Gaia's womb, causing her terrible pain. Eventually, he imprisoned both the cyclopes and the hecaton chairs in the Tartarus. This made Gaia resent him deeply, so she sought help from the Titans, but all of them were too afraid to confront him. All except one, Cronus, the youngest of them, who agreed to help his mother in her will to destroy Uranus, so she crafted an indestructible sickle for him and made a plan. Later on, when Uranus descended on Gaia, Cronus castrated him with the sickle and threw his testicles, source of his power, into the Mediterranean Sea. They produced a white foam from which a woman emerged, Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty. The blood that flowed from Uranus also created the giants, whose name doesn't have anything to do with their size. It means sons of the earth. Additionally, the Erinyes emerged, commonly referred to as the Furies, three goddesses whose job was to punish the men who committed heinous crimes such as murder, perjury, and offenses against the gods themselves. And also from there emerged the Melii, or ash tree nymphs. The nymphs were beautiful young women associated with natural elements such as trees, water, and mountains. Returning to Cronus, while Uranus was writhing in pain, he looked at his son and made a prophecy. He said, "One day your children will overthrow you as you have overthrown me." This is also when the Titans obtained their name. They were called like that by Cronus because Titans meant the ones that dared to rebel because of their betrayal. After this, Uranus lost all of his power and went back into the sky as a passive, powerless entity. The sky could no longer completely cover the Earth, which marked the final division between both. With the defeat of Uranus, Cronus became the ruler of the rest of the Titans, and all of them agreed because of his power and courage. The Titans started to rule over the world by having children with each other. Cronus took Rhea as his wife, in the modern equivalent of a political alliance. They had a daughter, but when Rhea gave birth to her, Cronus remembered his father's prophecy and decided to swallow his baby in order to avoid it. This occurred another 4 times, but when Rhea was pregnant for the 6th time, she planned to trick Cronus in order to save at least one of her children. When she gave birth to Zeus, she quickly swapped him with a rock, and Cronus ate it without suspecting. She then sent Zeus to the island of Crete, where he was raised by nymphs and breastfed by a goat named Amalthea. Moreover, there was an army of demigods on the island that made lots of noise with their swords and shields whenever Zeus cried so Cronus wouldn't discover him. Once Zeus grew, he started to show his godly strength, and while playing with this goat, he accidentally broke her horn, and it was turned into the cornucopia, also known as the Horn of Plenty, which could offer unlimited nourishment. This can be regarded as Zeus's first divine act. Rhea, seeing how irresponsible her son was, put Metis, a female Titan, and his aunt in charge of educating Zeus as a future king. Once he was old enough, he was told the truth about his origins and his father, and he planned his revenge along with Metis and Gaia. Metis gave him a potion, and he was introduced to Cronus by Rhea as a slave who would offer him drinks. When Cronus drank the potion handed by Zeus, he vomited all of the children he had swallowed, who had already grown inside him and were adults. Zeus explained the situation to his siblings and freed the Hecatoncheires and the Cyclopes from the Tartarus, starting a 10-year war between gods and titans, also known as the Titanomachy. And so, with gods rising, monsters freed, and vengeance in motion, the world stood on the edge of a war that would shape eternity.